Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Football.
And welcome in to the Inside Arkansas Football post-game reaction show presented by BetSaracen, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. Proud partners here at Inside Arkansas. I'm Curtis Wilkerson, joined by Andrew Ellis. John Neighbors is a glutton for punishment, and he stayed at Razorback Stadium for the entirety of what we just witnessed. Oh boy, let you guys know right off the top here, this is going to be a heavy chat show this afternoon, and we won't take long to get to them. It is a live reaction show after all. We also have intern Cameron tuned into the press conference to give us any juicy details that come out of that while we're live on air here, because, well, we all know what the situation is now. Sheesh. Final score, Notre Dame 56, Arkansas 13. Maybe the silver lining for some of you today was seeing through the mirage of this 4.5-point spread and using BetSaracen to hammer the Notre Dame cover, because we just witnessed a splattering in Fayetteville, folks. Arkansas gets embarrassed by Notre Dame, blown out, humiliated, booed off of its own field when that wasn't being drowned out by "Let's go Irish" chants. So that very well may have been the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's hit rock bottom here of the Sam Pitman era, folks. You were no longer 2 fumbles away from being an undefeated football team. All right. So I know that we're going to talk plenty of big picture stuff here because that is more prevalent than ever. But first, Andrew, buddy, give me your opening thoughts here on what we just witnessed at Razorback Stadium.
Not feeling great, if I'm being honest with you, Curtis. I do want to give you credit because I feel like every time I talk to you this week, and sometimes we say things publicly, sometimes we say things in private, but every single time I talk to you every day this week, you remain pretty adamant. You were like, man, I don't want to be mean here, but I just feel like I see an ass kicking taking place here. And of course, I think you said 45-28 was your final score. That was what you kind of envisioned. So this was obviously worse. You mentioned the 4-point spread or 4.5-point spread. You end up losing by 43, and it really easily could have been 50. Notre Dame, of course, even after the fake punt, kind of called the dogs off a little bit, put in their second-team offense, although they did score on the first-team defense. But when you have a game where the result varies so drastically and so sharply from expectations or from the prognostication, it's one of those unique times. I know it happens a lot in sports for Arkansas, but really in sports, it's not often that you can watch a game and there is no real nuance. There is no conversation to be had. There is no, well, this matchup went this way, but if we had done this more, maybe we could have done that. And, well, if that call went this way, maybe it goes different. And as bad as it is at Arkansas, we actually have some of these losses all the time. I mean, the Western Kentucky game is certainly that, where you have a loss that makes it clear there is dysfunction from the top down. And, we can sit here and say, is it the defense? Is it the secondary? Is it the D-line? Is it the coach? Is it the DC? When you have a loss like this, Curtis, it's everyone. Like, there is no finger pointing. It's just a top-to-bottom failure and dysfunction. That's what we have here at Arkansas. I would argue, though, we've done this now 4 straight years where there has been a signature moment, signature loss that kind of defines the season and brings everyone back to this kind of pit of desperation. In 2022, you had the Liberty game. That was a dysfunction type of loss where we had to really ask big picture questions. 2023, you have that Mississippi State game. You had the BYU game, of course, but you also had that Mississippi State game where it was like, holy cow, something's up here. Last year, you have a really bad loss against Oklahoma State. You have a really bad loss against Ole Miss. Another loss that kind of defined the season. And now here we are, week 5. Arkansas's got 2 of them. You have a Memphis loss in this. But even the Memphis loss, as bad as it was, you could still kind of play that game of, well, it's just a fumble here. And, well, if we make one adjustment here, maybe we'll win that game. This one, there is no positive spin. There is no conversation to be had. You have a dysfunctional football program. And we all kind of knew that deep down. But we are met with the harsh reality. And like I said, it happens a lot to Arkansas. Like, every era is kind of defined by these moments. But it really isn't that often in sports that we watch a game and there's no discussion to be had about the actual game. You just saw that is one team tried to win. The other was just happened to be there today. They wanted no business in this game, and I think you could tell that from pretty early on.
Yeah, I agree. And you're right, and I appreciate you giving me a little bit of credit there. Thank you for that at the top. But no, it's true. Like, all week long for me, I just kept bringing up how my mind couldn't compute how we could have this overwhelming sentiment that it's time for change and time to do it now, while also operating under the same illusion that this team had a chance to beat Notre Dame. Like, those two things do not go together, right? That's just not how this works. Either things weren't as bad as it was being built up to be, or the Irish were about to come in here and kick Arkansas's ass. And we saw what just happened, right? And it was going to boil down to if this team was going to be able to block out the noise and everything else going on and rally around its team, your teammates or your brothers, or win one for the Gip or whatever? Or do you just take the easy way out and let go of the rope? And it turns out they weren't even holding on to the damn rope at the start of this game. It was embarrassing, a waste of such of a cool opportunity with what looked like a really big crowd to start, a brand name in town. This is kind of what we've all been looking forward to, wanting to happen. And then how do you respond? Like 6 straight touchdown drives allowed in the first half for Notre Dame, 420 yards of offense. It was a lifeless effort again defensively. I didn't think it could get any worse than it has been. It did. DBs getting mossed, Love and Price in the backfield looked like they were playing against middle school players. The offense got completely bottled up. They are not, absolved from any criticism in this one. You had drops, you had turnovers, special teams gaffes all over the place. Getting pantsed in front of the entire country in your home stadium was the clearest pathway I could see to some sort of immediate change that people have been calling for all week. Well, here we are. So listen, because I know everybody's already we're demanding you guys say you call for heads or whatever. Well, here's the deal. Welcome. If you just got here, we've been talking about this for years now. Yeah. So after this, will it be Sam Pitman? I don't know. Would it be if I was in charge? Yeah, it would. Okay. Will it be Travis Williams or someone on the defensive staff as like a scapegoat like Dan Enos was a couple years ago? Maybe it's both. I don't know. I just don't see a path here where a head doesn't roll after tripping up at Ole Miss, pissing down your leg at Memphis, and then quitting on your home field today in front of your fans. I was just so disappointed in what we just witnessed here. And I don't know what the hell there is to wait on at this point. Like I think people don't want to hear about buyouts anymore. People don't care about, is the record above 500 since 2021? Change is needed. Something needs to happen. I think if there was anyone holding on to the other side of it, they let go of the rope just like this football team did today. I guess the only problem, in my opinion, is if a move is made today or this weekend or whatever, based on what we heard yesterday at the Board of Trustees meetings, like Hunter Yurchek's going to be in charge of making the next decision, the next hire here. Is that what you want? Be careful what you wish for, but this is bad. Like I said, I think this is rock bottom for the Pitman era here.
To answer that question of this, is this what I want? I want both of them. I want there to be a change in leadership in multiple different levels of this Razorback athletic department. And so, yeah, for the fans that will kind of hold our feet to the fire and be like, will you guys do this? It's like, I think you are unfamiliar with our work. We have not been the guys. We have not been the media members that have been like clinging on to, no, you can't fire Sam Pitman. You can't change your athletic director. You can't have change. We have not been that. So if you think we're in that camp, we are not. And if you also think that like us saying something is going to magically do anything, it's like the Michael Scott bankruptcy. It's like, I declare that Arkansas needs to fire Sam Pitman. I declare that Hunter Yurchek should not have a job as the athletic director at Arkansas. That's what I feel. You guys want me to say it? I agreed that like it's not really going to solve anything. But man, you're 100% right though in your initial point though, Curtis, about you kind of have these opportunities to show. And I think show what you're made of, show how much you care, show if there's any life left in you. And I think coming into this game, that was a big question. As crazy as it sounds, like as bad as today was, it really was a question of like, would Arkansas give the kind of win one for the Gipper mindset? Would they give that last little rally here? And I think the biggest, most frustrating part of the whole Sam Pitman era to me, Curtis, has been that there's always a reason to not be motivated or not to play your best football. And Sam Pitman always has that. And I'm not saying that to be mean to Sam. I'm really not. There is always a thing. It's either, hey, well, we just didn't have we had a guy get banged up, and so we didn't have the D-line depth. I remember when they lost to LSU his first year, he was like, well, COVID, so we only had 5 defensive linemen. That's why we lost. We were good, but we just couldn't take care of the football, and that's why we lost. Well, we were good, but, they played that quarterback that we didn't expect them to play, so we didn't have enough time to practice. There's always a reason for it, and it's always frustrating, and it comes back to the overall theme of, like, your default setting is just not playing good, hard-nosed, tough, disciplined football. There's always a reason for you to not be there. And so the illusion is like, well, if we clean up all these reasons, then we will play good football. But this is the type of game, Curtis, that's like, we shouldn't need you to like have the carrot dangling in front of your face to go chase it. You shouldn't need to be motivated and told why, hey, you have freaking 75,000 fans there today. It's Notre Dame. It's a historic matchup. Everyone, you're on ABC. Everyone's watching. We've been talking about this game all offseason. People spent several $100s to come watch you play. They're honoring Vahiva Aloy. They're honoring the basketball team. Bobby Portis is here. Drew Smiley's here. Everyone's here. You should not, if you're a college athlete and you need to be told to be motivated for this game, you're playing at the wrong level. And if you're a coach that has to like find a way to motivate your team in a game like this, you're at the wrong level. And I think the fact that Arkansas came out so definitively to make it clear to us, we have let go of that rope. We do not care. I promise you. And I want to make something clear, Curtis, because I saw there was a few people that I saw tweeting at us that were like, I hope y'all call out the offense. It's not just the offense, which, like, again, if you think that we're like the guys who don't want to, offer fair criticism, like you have us misconstrued here. It was on both sides of the ball, man. And I think that's the most surprising part of this game to me. Because the thing that we've always felt is this defense has red flag after red flag. Do they have talent in the secondary? Probably not. Do they have depth at the front of the defensive line? No. But we still always kind of felt, okay, but this offense will give Arkansas a chance. They'll still move the ball. They'll still be competitive. They won't just outright quit. But I saw a lot of guys on that offense outright quit. I saw the quarterback, Taylor Green, number 10, the senior, who we love, and he's kind of the guy you go into these matchups saying, well, we got Taylor and we got a chance. He looked like he wanted to be anywhere but there on that field. And, I mean, he runs out of bounds on fourth down. You throw a pick to nobody. And, I mean, just all day did not seem like he was really, like, fired up for this challenge. And when you have so many people in leadership positions, players, coaches, position coaches, your whole athletic department, when you have so many people in leadership positions that make it clear to you that they don't really care whether you win or lose, it's hard for me to even to criticize too much, because I understand how a lot of these players could easily let go of the rope. When you're watching all of your buddies let go of the rope, it becomes pretty easy to quit.
Yeah, it absolutely does. There's a level of fragility. They're a little bit fragile. Yeah, I mean, and Sam Pitman said that about this team this time a year ago when they played Texas A&M. I remember that word came out of his mouth, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't like that." But that's just it. When your backs are against the wall and you're in a situation like Arkansas was coming into this, you need a lot of things to go right early on to give yourselves a little bit of momentum and confidence that you can carry over, because it's not going to take long. It's only going to take a couple fractures for the whole dam to break. That's what happened today. And I'm not blaming the game on this one play here, but that Raylan Sharp drop on the first drive there, when you were kind of moving it down the field and getting a little bit going there, from that moment, and then Notre Dame turns around and has that just easy work touchdown drive, it was a wrap. It was done there. Like, you could see the body language start to dip, particularly defensively. Good grief. That was rough stuff. So here we are. And, it's crazy to me how it was just completely lifeless for a half. And I know Sam Pittman told the reporters, I don't know how much you were listening to the broadcast, Andrew, but that it was a very emotional locker room, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And they're going to go back to man coverage because they got to be able to put another man in the box, but they've got to show some life. They got to be able to get some stops. And they had like one inspired defensive possession there that also included like a 50-yard fake punt. Marcus Freeman was ruthless, bro. He was out for blood, man. And that's the type of killer instinct that we talk about all the time when we say there's a difference in a winning culture and a losing culture. And it was prevalent against Memphis, and it was prevalent against today against Notre Dame. And that's just where you're at now. So this is rough stuff, man. It's listen, everybody was frustrated coming into it. They're more frustrated now. Some people are apathetic. I get it. I wish I could offer you some reprieve. We just all kind of wait with bated breath to see what happens here. You're going into the bye week with all this stuff going on. What changes are going to be made? We'll see what that looks like. And all I can tell you is primetime at the Palace is on Friday. So for those of you who need something to smile about, basketball is on the way.
Yeah, I know we're talking about a lot of big picture stuff here, but I actually do like there is some stuff in the game that I thought was interesting. You mentioned that opening drive of settling for that field goal after the drop that, I guess got overturned. One, by the way, real quick, did you have an issue with them not going for that fourth and was it like 2.5, 3? You didn't have an issue with that? Because I didn't. The same premise as the Ole Miss game.
Yeah, I didn't. And maybe it's hindsight because they didn't get any points out of it, in that Ole Miss game. They did in this one. I felt like you just need to get the lead. Like, if you're going to do that, you have to at least come out of it with some points. I understand the whole being aggressive thing. And I know I just talked about killer instinct, but I think it was 4th and 4, even a makeable field goal. I think the difference was it was like a 51 yarder on the road against Ole Miss. And it was like 39 yards. You should be able to pretty much automatically get 3 here. I didn't really have a problem with that. Now you can look at it and say, well, Notre Dame scored 17 touchdowns in a row or whatever and do the hindsight thing, but I was okay with it in the moment.
The thing that because I'm kind of with you, like I probably like I lean on the side of like going for it a lot of like 4th and 4 at the 50. I'm usually in that camp. I'm not tripping about it, but the thing I am tripping about is if you're going to do the Because, by the way, every football coach, like generally, if you polled 100 college coaches, I would say probably 90% of them would say, hey, the numbers indicate kicking to start the game. If you win the toss, we're going to kick. Like, that's usually what we're going to do. Occasionally you get the, hey, I love my offense. Let's take the ball. Let's send a message. But most football coaches at the NFL and college level kick when they win the toss. Arkansas chooses to receive, and that's a Petrino mindset. That's a Petrino thing. If you're going to do that, I feel like you kind of have to go all in on the aggression thing. But I'm with you. Like, I really don't want to, like, make that a thing. Obviously, there's way more situations going on here that cause Arkansas to lose this game. But I do think it is just kind of interesting that they keep asking for the ball, getting set up to do the halftime middle thing, which they give up every time. You allow your team to steal a possession, and you're kind of playing it safe when you have an opportunity. But big picture, the thing that people, I guess, missed when we were talking about this game, everyone pointed to Notre Dame's defensive stats, which they are what they are. I mean, they came into the game, what were they, like 118th in pass defense or something crazy like that? They had given up all these points, all these yards through the air, and people looked at that and said, well, this Arkansas offense, one of the most explosive, most yardage in the country, they'll be able to replicate that. The problem is those teams that Notre Dame gave all those yards and points up to were Texas A&M, number 8, number 9 in the country. Miami, number 2, arguably could be number 1 in the country. Really good quarterbacks, really good passing offenses. I think we learned today Arkansas is not quite on that level. When you're facing a good defense, you're not quite at that elite offensive level, which really wouldn't be a huge disaster in and of itself. But the theme with this whole team is like, hey, we know the defense sucks. The offense has to be really good. And I think any case for Arkansas winning or being close in this game was dependent on this offense being able to score at will. And I think you could tell, even on that first drive, you could tell this wasn't going to be an easy, the ball's just flying, we're going to score every possession type of thing. And then once again, Curtis, teams just make adjustments against Arkansas. That's 3 weeks in a row now where the second half, Arkansas has been substantially worse than the first half, and they weren't even good in the first half in this game. No. After that, those first 2 drives, you started to see, like, Notre Dame kind of made some adjustments defensively, so credit to Marcus Freeman. They have the talent over there. There's no doubt about that. And this Arkansas offense didn't really have – there wasn't a ton of there wasn't a plan B. There wasn't another adjustment to the adjustment. And in a game where your defense gives up 56 points and could have easily given up 60, there was zero margin for error, but it didn't really matter. I don't think Arkansas's offense was capable of going out there and winning this game against Notre Dame.
I'm going to piss some people off real quick. Sam Pitman is at the podium, and so we're getting some details coming in from intern Cameron, and then I'm also seeing some things on Twitter. Pitman still thinks they have a good football team. He did throw that out there. I mean, that's his go-to line when he starts everything. Okay, sure. I'm seeing this from our buddy Dan Fair. He says, Sam Pittman said that he has a better team than what they showed today, so they have to figure out why we played this way. We know why you played this way. You have been playing this way. Every time you say you're going to fix it and you have these big-brained ideas for how to do it, it doesn't happen. Oh, and also, they quit on you completely today. There's no denying that, okay? Like, this is not being harsh. It's not making a mountain out of a molehill like he'll accuse us of doing if he's still employed on Monday or whatever. That's exactly what happened out there. There was give up. There was lack of buy-in. There was a letting go of the rope, whatever cliche you want to throw in there for it. That's why you played that way today. And it's just it's like an explosion of what's been a brewing culture issue.
According to Cameron, our producer, who's on the spot here, he says that he didn't really answer a question about the effort because he has to watch the tape first.
I don't need to watch the tape.
And then here's another damning quote. And by the way, Curtis, the theme I've always gone with Sam Pittman is he has no idea what version of his team is going to show up any given day. This quote right here is pretty damning. I'm as surprised that this happened today as anybody. It's like
I believe
that doesn't give us any comfort. It's like, well, I didn't think we were going to lose 56-13 coming into this game. It's like, well, cool, I guess, but it's like, how do you not have a pulse on like what your team is feeling? What kind of, because that's the thing is like you go into a matchup as a football coach and you kind of know, hey, they've got a really good pass rush. We're gonna have to be really good in our protection, and if we're not, we're gonna get our ass whipped. Coaches usually go into games with that kind of mentality. Mm-hmm. Oh, if we're not ready for the trap play, we're gonna get our ass whipped. Oh, if we're not ready for this blitz they're coming, we're gonna get our ass whipped. Sam Pittman went into this game being like, dude, we're about to wax these boys. We are about to whip. He thought they were going to whip Ole Miss's ass too. It's like, I don't know, man.
I believe that he believed that this wasn't going to happen today. I believe that he believed that revenue share was going to be the great equalizer with college football and everything. What are we doing here? And folks, I'm sorry, I said we're going to get to the chats real quick, but I know we've been ranting a little bit. You got to let us rant a little bit. Thank you for that. But while Sam Pitman's up here and we're getting some of these quotes come through, we want to share them with you, and then we'll get straight into it. I promise. I see another one here. It's like a direct quote. He said, "We played terrible. We couldn't get off the field defensively. It's the same things. It's the tackling, the coverage, and that's on all of us." You say it's on all of you as you rolled your defensive coordinator onto the bus there. Man, what the hell? I know it's like Hunter Yurachek, is offender A, and then Sam Pittman's offender 1A and everything like that. But the downfall of Travis Williams from where we were this time a year ago of like, man, not interim head coach, but like head coach in waiting, give him the title. And then looking at it now, those guys aren't playing for him. And it's not just that. It's schematic issues going on there. They have no idea what they're doing on the back end in the secondary. No clue. They can't cover man to man. I guess, and that's why they started playing more zone. But the communication breakdowns, the guys running free, simple routes and everything they're confused with. It was an absolute disaster back there. I don't know what's happened. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times as sports fans, we kind of look for that one thing. That's why I think, and I'm not crediting any fans that, make fun of players publicly, but part of the reason why fans get so angry at players is because it makes them feel better to think, okay, this one guy screwed us. Oh, Jaylen Brown fumbled the game away. So if I yell at Jaylen Brown, he's the only, like, my team is still good, but Jaylen Brown screwed us. Is kind of the way they view it. And I think with this defense, a lot of times we have people saying, well, is it just a talent? Do they just not have talent? And the answer to that is no. They don't have SEC level talent on the defense, and that goes at the D line, definitely in the secondary. There's some SEC level talent in the linebacker room, but it's like overall big picture, your talent on your defense is well below SEC standards. Your depth well below SEC standards on defense. And then you mentioned the schematics. Clearly, they are not on the right side of this. Like when they go into some of these matchups, and it's not every single matchup. We've seen Travis Williams have success before, but like this year's team, man, like they have been kind of on. They've been chasing their opponents. They have not won the schematic battle. They have not won the coaching battle in any of these games. And so it's like when you add up bad talent, bad depth, bad injuries, you have bad coaching, and then now you're adding in just guys literally quitting on the field, which at this point, most of them have. The worst example, I feel like, Curtis, was that last play before half where Notre Dame wasn't even trying to score a touchdown. Let's just be honest about that. They were trying to set up for a field goal. They got the ball with 26 seconds left. They were trying to set up for a field goal, and all of a sudden you have the entire team kind of jog over to one guy, and he makes one move, and nobody follows him, and it's just like, it's just crazy, man. But yeah, so it's like when you have a defense like this, we can't just sit there and point and say, well, we're just bad at defensive tackle. Oh, well, we're just bad at corner. It's like, dude, it's everything. There is, like, if you want to point the finger, make sure you have about 9 fingers to point, because it really isn't just Travis Williams sucks, so if we fire him, like that's the solution. Because who's going to coach the defense? Marcus Woodson, who is coaching one of the worst secondaries we've ever seen? Is it going to be Deke Adams, as the most experienced defensive coach? He's likely going to get fired too. It's like Travis,
the dude from the Seahawks who's coaching the DBs now. No,
I was going to say I can't even remember the name of the dude who's coaching the corners, and I'm not going to look it up because he's not going to be here that long. But it's like seriously, like for everyone that kind of does the thing of like, hey, we got to fire T. Will. I'm not going to disagree, because clearly, like, there's a lot of people that need to be held accountable. But it's like, so what does that mean? Then, like, who's going to call the defensive plays? Like, I don't think there's a quick fix here. I don't think there is we just need to change up a thing here or there. I think you have dysfunction from the top down, and this started way before the season. This started during the transfer portal window, which we kind of tried to discuss with you guys, but you got very angry at us, so we just moved on.
And to the point that we're talking about here about like staff changes, Sam Pittman was asked about that. This comes from Tyler Cass over at THV11. He says, Sam Pittman, when asked if coaching personnel changes needed to be made during the bye week, quote, possibly. I've got some time to think about some things. Possibly.
I mean, listen, I'm sure he's going to try and, I'm sure that's going to be his position when he's asked by Yurachek or when he's asked by boosters or whoever. He'll just say, yeah, we just need to fire T. Will, and the guys quit on him. And so if we fire him, that'll be an adequate fix. And maybe it is. Well, maybe we can see it, but it's like you fired the strength coach. You fired one D-line coach. You fired or you didn't fire a secondary coach. You ran off a secondary coach in Sam Carter. You have fired your OC. You have fired your O-line coach. I don't know how you can just keep doing the thing of like, yeah, we just got to fire one more guy and then we're going to find that next level.
This is apparently Sam's audio was a little choppy or cutting in and out. Surprise, surprise. I'm glad it's not just us, for everybody who watched our Alumni Hall show yesterday, but he was asked, I guess, about the like the fire Pitman chants and the boos coming from the home stadium and everything, which that it makes me sick to my stomach. I never want things to get to that point. But I guess he said he didn't hear it.
Did not hear it.
And then we got another quote in here from Cameron from Sam Pittman. He says, if I was a fan of me, what? Oh, he said, if I was a fan, I'd be mad at me too. In response to what he'd tell fans who might want some changes. So not even like, hey, we're going to get this fixed and nobody's going to work harder than me. Here's my plan. We're going to do whatever it takes. I'm not going to sleep during the bye week. No, he just said, yeah, if I was you, I'd be pissed at me too.
I mean, we're not spilling any secrets here when we say that there will 1000% be a huge part of Sam Pittman that is relieved when this is over. Is that fair to say?
That's absolutely fair to say.
I mean, and listen, I'm not saying that Sam Pittman shouldn't be annoyed. I'm not saying Sam Pittman, was like put in a great position to succeed or anything. I just think it's like, man, this is the job, and I understand it's a really hard job. I understand it's a job that comes with a ton of scrutiny, but he has made it very clear his disdain for this whole thing. He doesn't like answering questions from the media. He doesn't like hearing what fans have to say. He doesn't like what the media has to say. He doesn't like that whenever whenever his team loses, that he's held accountable. He doesn't enjoy this job. And that's, again, like Nick Saban literally quit his job at Alabama because he didn't like this new era of college football. But it's like, you either got to be here or you can't. Like you got to either be in or out. And I think he's just towing that line between outright quitting himself and then also trying to like make excuses. I just don't think he wants to be here, man. I really don't think he wakes up every day as like, man, I got to do everything I can to make sure this football program succeeds. I think he's been kind of broken down by this.
It's crazy. Yeah. I think you see it. It shows in a lot of the actions there. I've got just a few more updates that I'll share with you guys. And I probably, as soon as Sam Pittman's done, we'll move to the chat, but
we needed some Sam Pittman.
We got some bangers in here today. But from intern Cameron, I guess that Jaylen Brown confirmed that he broke his fibula. So his leg bone on the outside of his leg there. That sucks, man. I hate to see that. As soon as they put that vacuum splint on him, I was like, oh no, that's not good. So that's tough news there. So hopefully a speedy recovery for him. This from Trey Schapp, because I guess he's in there at the press conference. He said Sam Pittman's wife, Jamie, is trying to get a curtain shut that allows fans to sit in the north end zone to watch the press conference because one of them is a Notre Dame fan. So I guess she's trying to shut out the Notre Dame fan. But I guess Pittman was also asked about, the outside noise, everything for his job. And his quote here says, it's been that way for about 3 years. It's tough, but there's a lot of teams out there that have tough situations and turn it around. I'm glad there's a bye week. We have time to look at ourselves. We have time to get it turned.
Okay.
So
I would just remind people that literally at the press conference of the Western Kentucky game, Chad Morris made it clear. He said, there is no doubt I am the guy. It's not going to be an overnight fix.
Live in infamy.
We're going to get this thing turned around, and that's one thing I will say is that like there's nothing Sam Pittman could go up there at the press conference right now and say that we would have a positive reaction to. I fully concede that, but it is just crazy that here we are again. Time is a flat circle. We're back with another program-defining loss and a head coach sounding like a used car salesman at the press conference. It's just kind of a rite of passage at this point. Every generation of Hog fans you got the Citadel, you got the ULM, you got the North Texas, you got this. It's like it's just a thing.
Yep, no doubt. Well, let's get into the chat, but before we do, let's talk insurance, shall we? Why not? Why not? Right? Razorback fans, listen. Nobody wants to deal with the hassle of a suffering football program or shopping around, and that's why I use and recommend OZK Insurance. They're based right here in Arkansas, and they shop multiple carriers to find the best coverage and price for you. Whether it's home, auto, business, you name it. This ad read, we might have to update it a little bit. Whether it's Saturdays at Razorback Stadium or everyday life, you want protection that you can count on. Well, that's why people are a little bit fired up right now. But OZK Insurance has you covered. They got over 600 5-star Google reviews. Hit them up for a free online quote today at ozkinsurance.com or call 479-715-4200. OZK Insurance, it's protection made simple. And if you need a little bit of happiness in your life, hit up our friends Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, because they'll come out and install and set up your house with professional Halloween and Christmas lighting like you've never seen before. You'll be illuminated like Razorback Stadium was last night, and then it won't fail you the next day. It's a beautiful thing. They provide all the materials, any color, any pattern. They do the installation, the maintenance, and they come down and take it down for you in January. If you sign up for Halloween lights, you're going to get your Christmas lights for 50% off. So text our guy Brett for a free estimate at 479-459-1380. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. There we go. You ready for this chat, man?
I am ready for this chat. And by the way, we do appreciate everybody being on here, man, because I understand it sucks and like we're all kind of here together, joined by our misery and all that. But you could have been doing anything with your Saturday. We appreciate that you're spending it with us, even if you are doing it while shaking your fist at the TV.
Yes, this is very, very true. And folks, we're going to start with the super chats, and we'll see how far we get. If people pay to have their comments read, we want to prioritize that because we certainly do appreciate it. It's not a knock on anybody else that's in there. And if we have time at the end of this, we'll certainly get to them as well. I would imagine a lot of these share the same sentiment, though. We got a lot of repeats in here about how people are feeling. I get it. Our friend Jaffa, appreciate you, says 2 coaches with pressure, and we see who showed up. I assume talking Marcus Freeman with the way that's gotten going here, and then Sam Pitman on the other end of it. There you have it.
This is a good point. And obviously pressure is different for everyone, like Notre Dame's coming off of a playoff appearance or a national title game appearance. So yeah, it's like Marcus Freeman would have survived no matter what, but you're absolutely right, Joffre. Like Notre Dame, when they lose 2 games in the first 3 weeks, that's not a happy fan base with the way they've won in the year they're coming off of last year. If they had lost this game, that would have been a huge moment for their program and kind of a huge whoa. And I feel like it would have been a huge red flag. And I think I told you, Curtis, this public or privately, that if Notre Dame if Notre Dame loses to Arkansas, Marcus Freeman is the biggest fraud in college football. Like honestly, he answered that without a doubt, man. That dude showed up. There was no doubt about whether or not he wanted to win that game. You saw the intensity on the sideline. You see him doing the fake punt, which you could actually even argue that was a crazy move to use your fake punt, which was a very elaborate thing in a 42-13 game. But he didn't want Arkansas. He didn't want to give Arkansas the football back and give them a chance to get momentum, get back in the game. He's keeping his foot on Arkansas's throat. That's what you want to see out of your head coach.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. It was pretty remarkable, some of the things that he did there. I mean, going for it on multiple 4th downs when you're up by 3 or 4 scores for that very reason. You said that's just killer instinct, man. Yeah. It is foot on the throat. It's having your backs against the wall and having a sense of urgency and knowing what's required to get back to where you want to be. And a team embodies the personality and the traits of its head coach. Like that stuff starts at the top and it rolls downhill. And again, like that's just the perfect illustration of Notre Dame today and Arkansas today, and then the programs in general. It's unfortunate, but that's kind of where we're at. Cody James, we appreciate you, buddy. He says, did Anthony Spratt have a good visit? Yeah, class of 2027 or 2028. He's a youngster. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he enjoyed his time. Listen, as Andrew told us yesterday, Arkansas basketball had 2 practices today, one before and then one after the football game. I bet he enjoyed that more than he enjoyed his time at Razorback Stadium. I'll just say that much. The other recruit in town, like JJ Andrews, at least you already have him committed. Like I was thinking about Big Arafon Gian, the 5-star center who was here a couple weeks ago. He was taking a visit, Andrew, to Virginia this weekend. So he was there for that game last night, like their crazy field storming and everything like that. Sometimes you like to have the big visits on football game weekends, and then other times it's like this where it's like, wow, man, their fans are booing the team off the field, and they emptied out at halftime. This is crazy. But yeah, you have plenty of years to get it figured out with Mr. Spratt there. Jelly Mac, appreciate you, says the way Sam was walking the sideline is like Pitt knows he won't get fired. What did you make of Sam Pittman's body language, demeanor during the game?
Yeah, so I don't know for sure. I mean, perhaps Jelly Mac here is correct that is the look of a man walking around knowing he's safe. I don't know. He had a weird smirk on his face at certain times, which, it may just be one of those things. Sometimes like you're so angry that you just kind of laugh. Perhaps you had some of that going on. I don't know. Me personally, I'm not going to read too much into it. Like if I had seen something specific where like, I saw him choke a player or like saw him, laughing and smiling or something like that, maybe I would, but it's like, I didn't see something drastic enough for me to be like, oh, this is what he was thinking and feeling in that moment. I didn't love what I saw from him, but I also don't want to overreact because it's like, standing out there for 3.5 hours, you never really know. But did you get the vibe that he knew he wasn't going to get fired? I just saw a guy that didn't really care that much. Like and that's what I've gotten from Sam Pittman for the last few weeks is just indifference.
Yeah, I think that's probably a better way to put it. I think I would tend to agree with that. And then also, I mean, it's just, I'm not trying to defend the man or anything like that, but it is a very like awkward and difficult situation to be in. I would probably look some type of way too, if I was in his shoes there. I have, or at least I'm trying to get pulled up here, the video of Sam's response to the outside noise. It's like 1 minute long. So as soon as that gets uploaded here, I want to play that for you guys. Obviously we haven't heard it yet, so this will be news to us. Okay. I think I have it here. So let me pull this up real quick and play it just that way everybody can hear what Mr. Pitman himself had to say. And stay with us, okay? I know you're going to see this. You're going to get pissed. You're going to try to get off of here. It's only 1 minute. Bear with us. What were you about to say?
I was just going to say, I might pause and interrupt him.
Yeah.
Times,
sure.
But still.
Here we go.
No, there's a lot of fans out there wondering if you should even be the head coach at this point, and they want to change during the.
Damn. Okay, I like that though. The media never ask the hard question.
Yeah, they're scared.
Bye week at top.
Are you asking a question, or are you telling me what
would you tell?
All right, you can't do that anymore, man. You can't do that. You're not in the position to where you can be hard dicking people every time they say something to you or cutting them off in the middle. That's the stuff that bothers me the most, right there. That it triggered me immediately.
Well, let the dude
after
finish.
this, you just got blown out 56-13 at home. I think the least you could do is let him get his words out and get the question out the way he wants it phrased, and then do whatever you want from there.
Yeah, and I'm always kind of the guy that, like, sometimes I roll my eyes when some people are asking questions and they do the setup before they ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the setup takes too long. I actually don't even think this was an example of that. He said like one sentence where he's like, "Hey, there are some people who are questioning whether or not you want to be the head coach," and then he was clearly about to go into a question,
right?
And Sam interrupts him. Like, I don't like that.
Me either.
That's what. What would you tell the fans that think that?
Well, I mean, I understand. I mean, I get it. If I was a fan, I'd be mad at me too. I'd be frustrated as hell with me. But here's what I'll say. As long as I'm the head coach at Arkansas, I'm going to fight my butt off to get the guys out there. And how long that is, it is partly up to me because of what we put on the field. But that's not my call. And if I'm worried about that all the time, I won't be able to do as good a job as I possibly can. But I will say this, if I was the fans, I'd be mad at me too. Hell, I'm mad at me, to be perfectly honest.
All right.
I think that's the right mentality in terms of like, hey, for as long as I have the job, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to fight like hell. Like, I'm okay with that. And I mean, yeah, doing hey, if I were a fan, I'd be mad at me too. That's probably about as good as you could do with that question. Yeah. So I don't like have anything like crazy to say based on that. It's a tough spot to be in. But I also like don't really buy, I didn't sense a ton of conviction of like he's actually going to do things differently and reinvent the wheel and really find the answers. I'm still extremely, extremely, extremely skeptical. Like, just color me that. But I don't really have a problem with anything he said in the video necessarily.
No, that was okay. And I like that. And see, that's kind of the risk you run when people put out certain tweets. Like you can only like get a sentence or two into a tweet. And like him saying what he said about like, "Oh, hell, I'm mad at me too." I wasn't crazy about just that, but then with the rest of the added context, it's like, all right, well, I don't know what else he could have said. So I'm glad that we wound up pulling up that video there, but it doesn't change anything. It didn't inspire me in any way. Sharkensaw, this is pretty good. Our resident power rater says, depending on how badly LSU beats Ole Miss tonight, there's a very strong possibility that we move Arkansas to off the charts last on the power ratings.
Well, hold on, wait a minute. Why would the LSU Ole Miss game have an impact on the power ratings?
I think he might just have us up there because of the performance against Ole Miss.
Okay.
Maybe it's
so
a little
Ole
like
Miss
a benefit
beat
of the doubt.
LSU. You would maybe say, okay, Arkansas could be 15th in the SEC.
Yeah. Who are they ahead of? Kentucky, and who else do you have in front of? Florida, maybe?
I think Florida, yeah. Kentucky and Florida.
I wouldn't have them ahead of Florida. I know it's.
I wouldn't have them. I don't know if I'd have them ahead of Kentucky if I'm being 100% honest with you.
They might beat South Carolina
tonight.
To be
honest with you.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest with you. Ryan McDaniel, we appreciate you for the super chat, buddy. He says, love and respect you guys. It's not your fault, but the media must stop slow playing the call from fans for change. You are our voice. We waited too long to fire everyone, and this is what it gets us.
All due respect, Ryan, you can kiss my ass with that shit, dude. Like, I'm being honest with you. Like, that one, like, I was on Trey. I had a different job 2 years ago. I was a journalist back then, an actual writer back then, and I went on Trey's show and said, I think there should be a change. I think they should fire Sam Pitman in 2023. So don't hit me with that slow plan shit. And also, again, like the point we made again, what do you think that last year, if Curtis and I had done a full podcast and we sat here for 2 hours and we just said, fire him, fire him, fire him, fire him, you think they would have fired him? Like, you think that would have changed something? And I'm not saying that we don't have any power or that everything we say, we're just yelling into the wind, but like, dude, this crap is so annoying to me. Like, how are you going to, of all the people you could be mad at, how the hell are you going to say, like, oh, this is what it gets us because y'all wouldn't call for his job, and now here we are? That's complete BS, dude. That is complete BS. I think you know it because you spin BS in our chat all the time. I'm so sick of hearing this crap, dude. I really am.
At least he said it's not our faults.
Sure.
So he let us off the hook a little bit, which I appreciate that. But yeah, it's like media is always in a lose-lose position, though. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Softball questions, they never ask the hard questions, and then when you do, it was, oh, that was a shitty question. Yeah, you know, it's just.
I literally, Curtis, I just saw someone else in the chat saying, well, it's because y'all keep talking about firing Pitman. It's hurting recruiting. It's hurting players, because we've gotten that before too. Mm-hmm. All offseason, we were too mean and we were hurting recruiting and we were ruining the program. And now that the team sucks, now it's our fault that we didn't demand change. What?
Yeah. It is our fault. It is the fans' fault for being mean on social media that the recruiting class is suffering the way it is. It's not the athletic director openly admitting that they have no money to fund the football program or any of the other inefficiencies that they have there. But whatever. Jason Doyle, he says offense was equally horrific today. This is not just on Williams. This is a Pitman problem. Yeah, I mean,
for sure.
I think we agree. Yeah, and we talked a little bit earlier about the offense being a mess today. 365 yards. Like, how many times have they had more than that in the first half or close to that in the first half of football games there? Notre Dame clamped them up pretty good. And Arkansas made its own mistakes. It felt like anytime they'd get some momentum, there would be a costly drop. I know there was a fumble in there. Talon had his interception late. Not really sure what was going on there. A bad sack here and there. How many sacks did they allow? 3 in this game. Oh, so
yeah, it was probably the worst pass protection game the offense had.
Yeah.
Some of that, of course, Notre Dame, give them some credit. They did some things. But yeah, they ran the ball okay at times early. In fact, I think after the first quarter, Pitman was talking to Taylor McGregor, and he's like, I love the way we're running the football. They didn't really have any consistent run game outside of Talon scrambling occasionally. He had I think he finished with 80 yards, some of which were just kind of garbage time. But to the point of the offense, dude, the thing that surprised me, Purdue, Barry Odom's Purdue team with, Malachi Singleton and whoever else they have playing quarterback, they put up a bunch of garbage time points on Notre Dame and a bunch of garbage time yards. A lot of those numbers that you guys have been citing all week have been a result of Purdue kind of racking up yards and points in garbage time. Were you surprised that Arkansas didn't score more in garbage time? They didn't score at all in the second half.
I was actually. I was a little bit surprised in that. In fact, I was looking at it at halftime. What was the score at halftime? 42-13? I was looking at it thinking, and then especially that first drive where it was like, okay, seemed like Notre Dame might just be coming out and trying to coast through, put it in cruise control. And then Arkansas finally decided to show a little bit of fire. And I was like, this could be one of those deals where they take the foot off the gas or they get their guys out of there and Arkansas scores a couple late touchdowns. And then people are like, oh man, if they would just showed up in the first half like they did the second, and it was like holding on to hope or whatever. I kind of thought that's where we were headed until he did the fake punt. And I was like, oh no, they're really not going to let the foot completely off the gas here. But yeah, I was surprised that Arkansas didn't put any points on the board in the second half of this football game. Borderline stunned by that, actually. And I don't know why I should be. The 2 games before that, they had scored 10 points combined in the second half, but it just felt like at some point, and this did happen, even, it was early in the fourth quarter, Notre Dame put their second string offense in, the second string defense in. So you're thinking, okay, well, what is this going to look like here? Well, what it looked like is just like it did in the scrimmage at the beginning of the year that everybody told us we were overreacting to, where the second team offense drove it down the first team's defense throat and scored a touchdown on them. That's exactly what Notre Dame's second string offense did against Arkansas starting defense. And then they couldn't get anything done on the other end of it. You even said to me at one point before we got started, there was 4 minutes left. And you were like, hey, is KJ Jackson coming in here? And I was like, no, man, it's still Talon. And we were a little bit surprised at that point that they even left him in. They had nothing to show for it.
Yeah, so I saw some people, Curtis, I'm glad you mentioned that Notre Dame went to their second team offense. I saw some people that were saying that the fake punt was like, rude, disrespectful, or like cross the line or whatever. One, it was the first drive of the third quarter. So it's like how bad could the game have been if it's, whatever it was, a 4-possession game in the the first possession of the third quarter. I just don't think that's a time where you can you have to be playing it safe. And Arkansas had their first team defense in the entire game. Arkansas did not punt this game at one point. They did not go into the fourth quarter, which is actually when I thought they might, and take out Talon and take out the first team offensive line or take out the first team defense. They play their starters the whole game. And I feel like and Curtis, you will know this as a basketball coach, if you're running a full court press, Curtis, and you've completely dominated this team and you've shut them down, if they keep their starters in, you're going to keep running that press. And then maybe with 5 minutes left, if they take their starters out, okay, I'll take mine out. All right, we'll back up and we'll play a zone or, we'll do whatever. But it's like, if you're still playing and trying to win, I'm going to still play and try to win. You know what I mean? And so I honestly have no problem with that. And I think it's actually very, very telling that Notre Dame caught off the dogs and stopped trying to win and still outscored Arkansas.
Yeah, and that's what people are hungry for around here, is that type of mentality. I tweeted out at the time, I was just like, dude, Marcus Freeman is ruthless because he is. And to a man, in the comments, it was like, good, love that. Wish we had that. Would love to see more of that. That's awesome. It's endearing to a fan base, man. It is what it is. Our buddy Gibb, we appreciate you for the super chat, says, fire everybody in the football program. Your check better not be making the next hire. What an embarrassment. This fan base deserves better. I'll speak to the second part of that there with your check. Like yesterday, we had that whole situation that we talked about out at Alumni Hall with the board of trustees. Basically, they kind of gave your check the vote of confidence there, where other guys, they let him clarify his remarks or whatever about the football team not being set up to succeed. And then there was multiple of them that would just pass the mic to somebody else so they can tell Hunter Yurchek how good of a job he's doing. So sometimes that's fool's gold, like that vote of confidence. Sometimes it's not. But if they fire him today or this weekend or whatever, the beginning of that process, bare minimum, it's going to be on Yurchek. You know what I mean? Like at some places go out, they hire the search firms and stuff like that to help do that. Maybe that's something that Arkansas would do. I mean, they can't even sell the naming rights to their own damn stadium. Like they had to outsource that to get somebody to do it for them. So maybe that's an option for them there. But based on yesterday, I don't get the sense that Yurchek is, getting pushed out here anytime soon, unless that was just all BS.
Well, and also, what would be the only case you could really make for not firing anyone involved with the football program, or maybe even just firing T-Will or something? The only case you could make would be, well, we want to keep the team this year intact. We want to give them the best chance possible to succeed. So if we fire people, they're all going to quit. They're all going to do whatever. When you have a game like this where you had everyone healthy, you had everyone available, you had the entire staff intact, and you quit on the field, it's really hard for me to buy that as a reasoning for why you wouldn't have change. And so it's like, if we all agree that a change is going to happen, I honestly don't me personally. Now, I'm with you in terms of it doesn't sound like Hunter Yurchek's seat is as hot as it should be. It doesn't sound like that's even really the conversation been happening. Of course, that thing can always change, but based on what I saw today, man, I feel like there's so many big picture changes that need to happen with the coaching staff and with the athletic department. I think you need to get a head start on that sucker. I don't think you should wait until November, December before, making a decision. And then everyone else is doing the same thing. I think if you're with how much Arkansas is going to need to do this offseason in terms of hiring a coach, getting a staff in place, getting a vision, getting a leadership group set up in that athletic department, I would want to start that process as early as I could if I was in the board of trustees or if I was a person donating millions of dollars to this university. So I honestly any case for not wanting to shake things up, I feel like went out the window with this game today.
Agreed. We'll see if they feel the same way here. I just I keep looking over at Twitter just to see what national media or whoever might be saying about this. Dickie V is even weighing in on this. Dick Vitale is weighing in on this. He said, yes, the fact that Notre Dame football won, not a surprise, but did not expect the domination by the Irish offensively, and the defense was really improved. Wow, 56-13. Yes, here come the Irish. Notre Dame was awesome, baby.
I guess is he a Notre Dame football fan? Maybe I didn't know that.
Maybe. Did he coach there?
I don't know. I was not. When I was born, Curtis, Dickie V was 107 years old. So I really don't know.
This is fair. This is a good point here, actually, from Pooh Bear. We appreciate the super chat. He says Petrino's only touchdown was an offensive lineman rush.
Dude, okay, I completely forgot that this happened. You know what's crazy is they put him in the game a few plays before, and I don't know if he was at tight end or fullback or whatever, but they had put him in the game, and I was looking at the offensive line because I was like, oh, damn, did they take out Harris? Did they take out Branham? Did they take out Corey Robinson? Like, what's going on? And it took me a while to realize they just brought him in as an extra blocker, and then 2 plays later he scores a touchdown. That was a cool moment, but yeah, no, that is a hilarious statement there.
Oh wow,
the Prophet. Is that the Pooh Bear, like the old Pooh Bear?
It's got to be, right?
You would think.
He's back. Aiden Watson, thank you. He says, I don't blame Lou if he changed polos at halftime. Yeah, Lou Holtz. Well, he had the Razorback polo and the hat on.
Who was it? Was it the U of A's Twitter account that posted a picture of Pitman and Lou, and they were like 2 legends, 1 team, and everyone was like, I don't know, maybe it was Hogs Plus or something like that, but I saw a picture of them 2, and it said 2 legends, 1 team. Someone else can probably help us in the chat, but
man, oh man. Okay, continuing to roll through these, and appreciate everybody for being tapped in here and staying on with us. We're gonna make our way through all these super chats for sure. Seth Limley says we will see a change after this game when people stop showing up and buying tickets. They will be forced to change something. Yeah, to what you're saying here, like, I mean, everybody left at halftime or whatever, but what they see is 75,000, however many, butts in seats or tickets sold and all the revenue that comes from that. So from your angle of what you're saying there would almost be whenever the next home game is, if they had 30,000 people in there, that might be, what could do. But we've had that in the past, that like that 4 and 8 year, there was like 40,000 people or something for that Mizzou game at the end of the year. Like it was half empty and there was a bunch of Mizzou fans in there. It was kind of embarrassing. And then you got blown, your doors blown off there and nothing happened then. Now I understand it was like you had a really good year there. And then like, this is the first one where it kind of, so maybe a little bit more grace than you have now, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like moving forward. Now they got the bye week, then they're at Tennessee and then they come back for A&M. Is that what it is?
Yes. October 18th against A&M. The reality is
for that A&M game anyway.
Right. So. They sold a vast majority of these tickets before the season even started. Like the U of A's money, like this football season, I mean, obviously, we'll see how it goes down the stretch, maybe those last couple home games, but like the football revenue has kind of already, for the most part, big picture, been determined already. And last year, by the way, was like the most successful they've ever had. And so it's like, I agree with this sentiment that like, if people stop going, but like they're still gonna make, they made a lot of money today. Today, the Arkansas football program made a lot of money. And so you want to know why these people sit there and count their money and say, actually, we don't necessarily need to make a change. It's because if their bottom line is still the same, there's not as much pressure.
I see Seth followed up and he said, stop buying tickets, stop going to tailgates, and stop giving to NIL. There's no way they cannot make a move. The fans hold more power than the administration wants us to believe. And yeah, like I'm never gonna be the guy that sits here and tells people not to support the football program or not to go to games or try to tell you what to do with your money. That's not my place to do. But to your sentiment about that's the kind of stuff that would empower change and have voices be heard or whatever. I think there's something to that. To each their own. Like, do what you want to do as fans. Like, if you're fed up with it and you don't want to donate anymore, you don't want to go, you don't want to spend your days or your time dealing with this nonsense, don't. If you do and you want to go out and check out some football or whatever, tickets are going to be cheaper. So have at it. Like, to each their own. But I absolutely understand the sentiment and where you're coming from there.
Silence in the face of injustice is siding with the oppressor.
There we go.
Just remember that.
Sharkensaw says, I genuinely want to know how the program is better than before Pitman, like everyone says. It's not. I did hear, like, the game was obviously very much over and it was kind of the final minutes there. And the announcing crew, the broadcast crew was doing the whole, well, like just basically despite the 3-game losing streak here and what's taking place today in Fayetteville, is the students are chanting for his job, and the team's getting booed off the field, and the stadium is now emptied. Boy, he's got the program in such a better position than they were before he took over, and that's just kind of been the constant theme here. And I still think they're in a better spot. But like the more that this season goes along and you see something like this, it's, like, are they going to go 2-10? Like, what's this going to look like? But Andrew, I do think this goes back to something that you were saying last year when you were talking about maybe he retires, or maybe this is the end for him at the end of this season. Because if you don't go out on your own terms or pick the time strategically, there's no other way for this to end besides disaster. And the program being set back and not being where you wanted to get when you hired him in the first place, whether he was a bridge hire or whatever, because that just means what? You get fired. And if you get fired in the middle of the season, it's because it's a train wreck. So from that standpoint, Arkansas, I understand what you're saying. I just think it's inevitable. Like, the only way to avoid that type of situation is if they literally did like okay, well, he coached the rest of the year, they went 6-6, and now he's, going off to Hot Springs or whatever.
You're right. So last year, had they fired Sam Pittman right after the Liberty Bowl on December 28th or whatever that was, if they had fired Sam, or even, let's not even say fired, let's say that they had a mutual parting of ways. I understand that Sam Pittman, I'm not saying for you he was the most popular coach of all time and we all loved him dearly, but we all would have been able to look at his tenure as a whole and say, okay, he took the program over when it was at here, and now he's leaving it here. It's in a better place than it was when he found it. We would have all been able to objectively look at that and agree. We might not have said we loved it, or that, hey, we're satisfied with the tenure, or that it was a great tenure, but there would have been no doubt about it. But to your point, and to Arkansas's point, Sam Pittman took over a program that was 2-10, quitting on their coach, and fans were livid and stopped going to games. I'm not saying that's for sure where we're at now, but it's like the path to being 2-10, quitting on your coach, fans stop going to game. These are literally the conversations we're having now. And so it's like, and that's which was the whole argument we made last year, which was, you don't have any SEC coaches hiring anybody. This is the peak time ever. If you're going to fire a coach, do it when you can do it on good graces, or do it when your program is not in the gutter, so that you're not handing the keys to a beat up 96 Corolla. Maybe you can be handing the keys to, hey, we got you a 2012 Subaru, and if you keep doing this well, maybe we can one day get you a Ferrari. It's like, you would have set up the next coach way better had you been proactive, had you seen stuff coming. Hell, if you had fired him in 2023, there's a lot of what ifs. They went down with they opted to go down with the ship and wait until it got so bad that they have no choice but to fire him, which, by the way, still isn't even right now. Like, we still don't know for sure if they're going to fire him, unfortunately. You know what I mean? And so they're adamant that they're going down with the ship and saying, hey, we're going to wait until we have no choice but to fire him, which is how you can ruin all that progress, and how now whoever the next head coach is, we're going to have the same conversations of, well, he's 6-6, but remember, he took over a 2-10 Pitman team, so you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. This here is how you get stuck in purgatory.
Yep. No, it's 100% true. It felt like the entire point of the hiring at the time was, we need somebody to get this thing out of the ditch and back on the road, and then we can, bring somebody in to put them in the fast lane and get them where we want to go. He did that, and then now it's just like veering right back off into the ditch. So you're going to have to do that again. And so is the program going to be in any better of a situation to pass over than it was before? Well, if you have a team that's bottoming out and you're getting ready to lose your quarterback, and so you got to figure out all this roster stuff. But then when you have the athletic director talking about the state of the program and their inability to compete from a financial standpoint, from a resource standpoint, and everything else, it doesn't seem like a great situation for somebody else to inherit. Like what's the appeal of the job? Like, if the guy that you're going to work for, if you take this job, is saying, well, you're not set up to compete. Well, actually, you're not as set up as our other sports to compete. The reason I say that is because we're at the bottom of the SEC, and everything that matters in terms of making a football program able to compete, boy, that really makes me excited to come there. Yeah, we have less resources for our staff. Yeah, we pay our head coaches less than everybody else in the SEC. No, we don't have any NIL, and we're not interested in getting it. Yeah, I'm sure there's a long line of really accomplished and capable head coaches who are just lining up to take this job right now. So I get it from that standpoint. Actually, the more we've talked about this, the more I'm thinking about what Arkansas said. And I'm like, sheesh, man, It's closer to that than I thought.
I mean, and we saw, and by the way, it's not like this situation. It's not a super black and white thing where Sam Pittman's just this completely incompetent guy that's never had any success and could never have success. That's never really been what the conversation's about. We saw the guy have a 9-4 season. And so after you follow up that 9-4 with a 6-6, a 4-8, and a 6-6, me personally, I think it's time to ask yourself, hey, have we reached our ceiling as a program? If the answer is no, what is our ceiling as a program, and what are we doing to get there? Are we constantly taking steps to try and get there? And I just don't know how anyone after this past offseason could realistically say, hey, no, the ceiling is higher than that 9-4, and we are actively taking steps to get there. I don't think Yurchek believed it based on the comments he made, based on the point you made. I don't think anybody in the fan base, even if you were the biggest Pitman guy of all time, I don't think you really would have said, yeah, like the ceiling for this program is they're going to compete for national championships. Like you kind of knew this was a means to an end, to the point you were making, like handing it off to a next guy who could maybe get you there. And it just sucks that they're, determined to just wait until they have to. They wait until all that progress is ruined. And so here we are. And that's what makes this year the most kind of the most frustrating Razorback season I can remember.
Yeah, no.
Like being just bad sucks, but it's like at least that's easy to contextualize and easy to know. Today I watched a football game and I did not know if I wanted Arkansas. Like I didn't know what I wanted to happen, Curtis, and I hate feeling that way. Like Chad Morris got me to the point where I just stopped being sad when they would lose. I just was kind of dead inside. I've never been in a spot where I really didn't know what I wanted to happen, and that's not how I want to feel about Arkansas football.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. And, and folks, we usually go for about an hour on these shows. We're going to keep rolling because we still got a lot of super chats to get through. Yeah. We've got over 1,100 people watching on YouTube. Hell, we've got 10,000 people watching on our Twitter. So we're going to keep talking about this because you guys are interested.
This might be an all-nighter, dude.
It might just be. Yeah, I mean, hell, why not? Eddie Irvin says the defense looks like a 3A high school team. Yeah, I mean, from just a fundamental standpoint of footwork and tackling and wrapping up and getting guys on the ground. But then also, like I said earlier, the secondary, and listen, I'm not a defensive backs coach or whatever, but I've watched enough ball to know when a team doesn't know what the hell they're doing back there. And several times throughout the course of this football game, I was looking at it going, what is going on? Why is nobody here? Whose man is this? What the heck? It was really bad. And I just go back to what the hell happened with Travis Williams and his ability to reach these guys and coach them up, because they had been, with a few exceptions here and there, like an overachieving unit up until this year. And it's just been rough. Maybe it all, and I can't just blame it on personnel, even though we weren't completely sure with all these new guys they brought in, how much better are they going to be than the ones that they're replacing. But just from knowing what you're doing and energy and flying to the football standpoint, all that stuff has gone out the window this year. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and I think a lot of it is there was a touchdown play that happened in the game where I believe it was Julian Neal that was playing the deep quarters kind of, the prevent where the corner just kind of plays that off man and then backs up and plays that deep zone. And a guy ran right through him and went to the middle of the field, and he didn't pick him up because he just assumed, hey, someone else is going to be back here playing this kind of deep quarter coverage with me. And just nobody was there. And it's to your point, it's they don't know what they're doing. They don't know where everyone else is on the field. It's hey, I'm over here doing my job. And usually as a football player, you're kind of thinking, all right, I'm doing this. The left end's doing this. The linebacker's doing this. These dudes have no idea what they're doing, and they have no idea what their teammates are doing, which makes it really tough when you have an offense of 11 guys who do know where they're going. And not only do they know where they're going, they can get there faster than you. And it's just a recipe for disaster. I have a request, Curtis.
Yeah.
I want to just quickly touch on a non-super chat, because I just saw it pop up, and I just want to quickly, I'm not going to do a whole thing. I just want to ask Dave, because he says there would be much more validity in what you guys are saying if the U of A wasn't handcuffed with NIL money. My question to you, David, is why is the U of A handcuffed with NIL money? And you'll say, well, people don't want to give the money. People don't want to invest in the product. Why is that? Why is that the case for Arkansas, but not the case for Missouri, and not the case for Ole Miss, and not the case for Vanderbilt, and not the case for, or even the LSUs, Georgia's are why is that the case? Why is Arizona State able to fund a really good football team? Why is Arkansas handcuffed with NIL money in a state that has 6 Fortune 500 companies, a Fortune 1 company in Walmart? why is it that you're saying Arkansas is incapable of raising a lot of NIL money? Which, by the way, the U of A ain't handcuffed with NIL money because their basketball program is one of the top 5 most expensive in the country. Their baseball team, one of the top 5 most expensive in the country. So why is the U of A in football only handcuffed with NIL money? What could it be?
Are we supposed to just accept it, even if that's the case? It's like, oh yeah, well, I guess that's just the way that is.
Yeah, it's just a thing. It's just a thing. There's no reason for it. There's no reason.
Is NIL the reason why you're not playing hard?
Right.
Like if the check was a little bit higher, would they still be playing hard? Maybe. I don't know. Is NIL the reason why you lost to Memphis? A G5 program? Is NIL the reason why you're having all these, breakdowns and issues schematically down there? Like, I don't know, man. Is it an issue for the program? Sure. Do they have an answer for it, a fix for it, a plan for it? Nope.
That's why it comes back.
We've been talking about that the whole time. I don't know what to tell you, man.
It comes back to my point of that fans, and I'm not saying just David, I just mean in general, we always would much rather there just be one reason of, oh, our quarterback sucked. That's why we went 4-8. Oh, our DC sucked. That's why our defense is bad. It would be easier to just say, oh, well, we just don't have NIL money, and that's why. But it's like, but why do you not have NIL money? I understand, you got to go out there and do it, but it's like, there's not a reason for that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Good grief. Exclusive cards. Says fire Yurchek, Pitman, and T. Will. Petrino is interim until we get a new AD. To get a coach who can have his guys play for him. Pitman passed his nonchalant attitude onto this team, and they have no fire. I mean, a lot of that goes back to what we were talking about of, teams who have winning cultures and who don't. Teams who have, killer instincts and who don't. And the difference in the personality and the way that a guy like Marcus Freeman portrays himself and carries himself and motivates his guys versus well, we can only connect the dots to be, how Sam Pittman's doing this on the other end. Yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know, man. I that's what sucks is that you're so early in the season to just have to really come to terms with the fact that you're screwed. Like there is not some magic button here where it's like, oh, we're gonna fire Pittman and that's gonna help, and we're gonna fire DC, we're gonna fire the DC, that's gonna help. Like you're just kind of. We're just here, man. It's just a situation.
We're just here. Aiden Watson says, we still have to put out good tape, puts out abysmal tape instead.
Man. I'm sure we got some banger, funny chats that we've just not been able to get to because we have so much. It's
been crazy in here. And again, we appreciate everybody for being on with us. Exclusive cards again. He says, Pittman allowed to retire in Hot Springs after that showing? Sure. Yeah, he can go to his lake house. Okay with that.
And he should have a grand old time, man. He's about to have a lot of money to work with, too.
Right. Hey, Nomer says, nationally, people say Arkansas can't compete in the NIL era. Basketball and baseball are top 5 in NIL. Maybe, just maybe, get a guy with a pulse. We'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, it's, we've talked about it. We'll continue to talk about it, that if circumstances were different with who was running the program or more excitement around the program or whatever, somebody who can rally the troops, and by troops, I mean the people with deep pockets, then, yeah. I mean, that would help. Or an athletic director who could do his job in terms of, generating said funds that you need there, at least making a dent in it.
Hey, throwback to whenever Pittman used to say that revenue sharing was going to even the playing field. And the reason we always dismissed that and we kind of made fun of that was because we said there is no precedent for what revenue sharing is, what it's going to look like, and what is possible in this new world. So how could you commit to being so definitive of like, oh, this is what you can do in NIL? It's like, it's never happened before. There's not 80 years worth of historical data that prove that Arkansas can only do X, Y, Z. It's like we live in a world where there is it's changing every day. So I don't know why people feel so definitively. And so I agree wholeheartedly with our boy Hayden.
Yeah. Jelly Mac says, how do we have a top 10 offense and a horribly ran defense? Well, you don't have a top 10 offense anymore.
Yeah. Well, you will no longer be playing bad teams. So you're good.
I don't want to say that your question is invalid, but it is after today. I mean, the last 6 quarters of football, the offense has been not good at all. So maybe you're just not playing Alabama, A&M, and Arkansas State anymore. And maybe Ole Miss just has a shitty defense. I don't know. I mean, I think they're much, 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 much further along where the defense is. I do believe that they've got some things that they could figure out in terms of being a little bit more effective out there. But yeah, I mean, it's you play a real team out there, and then we kind of saw what today looked like. Ryan says, if people with voices say it, people with power will hear it. Ryan, we appreciate you, man. We talked about that. Our voices have said it. Do the people with power care? I don't know. Exclusive Cart says, Sam Pittman thought we had a good defense too. He said that. I mean, he's going to say it every year. And I always go back to like fall camp, whether it's position coaches or coordinators or players or head coaches, they're not going to walk up there and say, dude, we are cooked on defense this year. Folks, I'm just letting you know right now, the defense is ass. And there's nothing we can do about it. That's never going to happen. Not at Arkansas, not at Arkansas Pine Bluff, nowhere in the country. And that's why we always warn you as we get into peak talking season and camp of like, don't believe everything that you hear, but you do. And then if we try to throw any cold water on it, we're haters and negative Nancy's and everything else. But that's why we do it. And it's not a shtick. We just try to be as transparent and as real as we possibly can in bringing a little bit of levity to a situation, because you were talking about our previous job, Andrew, and how many times we had to write those stories during camp where we're just using quotes that we are getting from the coaches or the players or whoever. And then people turn on us saying, but you said this, you said that. No, they did. We're just reporting what they said.
If the theory of if people with voices will talk and that will fix everything, if that applied, then this defense would not suck, because we shouted from the mountaintops all offseason, all summer, during the portal season, during the spring ball, during the lead up to fall camp. You're right, Curtis. The coaches will not come right out and say it, but you know who will is us. And you guys heard that and chose to not believe that and chose to say that we were hating or chose to, feel the way you wanted to feel about it. But I will try to keep lifting my voices, lift every voice and sing.
Robbie Downtown Brown. I like it. He says,
I love Robbie Downtown Brown.
He says, just go back to Coach Petrino, Coach T. Will getting into it. We knew Coach BP doesn't like defense. I would think all coaches should be in sync. And I guess he's talking about, I don't even remember the show, whatever the podcast was.
It was a scrimmage recap, I believe.
Yeah, it was a scrimmage recap. What was the guy talking about it? And he was like doing the over-unders for Arkansas or whatever. And he was like, well, I heard that at the first scrimmage that Petrino and T. Will were trying to get into a fist fight or whatever over some of the stuff that was going on over there. A lot of people threw cold water on that. In fact, I'm pretty sure that a representative of the university told local media that was BS. And so they reported on it. Otherwise, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not out of practice. I don't know what the hell happened there, but it's an interesting thought. Something's going on. I don't know if it has anything to do with Petrino and Travis Williams and their relationship, but the defense is not good. And, something ain't right there.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I remember in that moment kind of being on the side of like, I don't think this is a thing to read too much into, especially with like offense and defensive coaches. Cause it's like, I know T. Will and Petrino have to work together, but it's like, they really don't have to work that much together. I think, and like it comes back to the point we said earlier that like it's not like it's just one thing. It's not like it's just, that argument between Petrino and T. Will, it caused this divide. I think there's a lot, but it certainly could be a factor. And at this point, I think everything is a factor.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Chance Nichols says prayers for Jaylen Brown looked like a career-ending injury.
Did not like that at all.
Yeah, it didn't look good. And if it is, I don't want to minimize it. If it is just a fibula, it's a non-weight bearing bone on the outside of the leg there. That's the one of the best case of worst case scenarios. It would just depend on what it looked like. He'll have to get surgery and everything like that. But if it's a tib fib where it's like both bones there in the lower leg, that's a lot worse and can take a long time to recover. So we'll see what it looks like. But yeah, it didn't look good. Hate to see that. And we're 5 games into the year. I don't know that we'll see him the rest of the season. It's a bummer. Feel bad for him.
Yeah, it definitely sucks. Did you get to see Andy Jean?
Yeah, he exists.
People were happy about that.
Exclusive Card says Hunter Yurchek should have seen this coming when Pitman signed with Jimmy Sexton. After that day, it's gone downhill fast. Do you blame Jimmy Sexton, Andrew, for the downhill of the Razorback football program?
I don't blame Jimmy Sexton. I don't think Jimmy Sexton helped by any means, but I don't think his job really, I understand his job and I understand how it could negatively affect Arkansas, but I don't think that a lot of the things that are wrong with Arkansas football, I would say 99.8% of them have absolutely nothing to do with Jimmy Sexton. The one thing you could make an argument for is if he truly did talk Sam Pittman out of retirement last year, that would be one thing, which may be real. It very well may be real. I don't know that for sure. But if that's real, then I would say, yeah, I could blame that. But I don't think it's a thing where, like, as soon as Pitman hired Sexton, he, lost his ability to coach and lost his ability to care for the players. I think this was probably going to happen regardless of who his agent was.
Right. Byron's best bet says Big 12 team.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's right.
Yeah, that's unfortunate facts. Sharkensaw says, this just in, coach who outsourced entire offense and defense now surprised his team is playing like they don't know what's going on. There's a lot of outsourcing going on in the athletic department with the football program, but they were lost out there, man. They were lost out there on defense. I don't even know what else to say.
There is a lot of outsourcing going on, isn't there?
Charlie Shepard says, hey, Curtis, can we just enter a coma until your favorite sport starts? Your favorite sport comes around, basketball. And look, they aren't going to go undefeated, but man, come on. Well, your coma would only be for a few more days because prime time at the Palace, the Midnight Madness event that they're doing is on Friday. So, what I would say is just tap into the pod at the Palace. That'll get you through in the meantime. Make sure you listen to Inside Arkansas Live. People will be venting. We'll try to make it as therapeutic as possible. And then, yeah, basketball is going to be rolling here before you know it. We're almost there. I get it. I
would also say, Charlie, and I'm not saying basketball is going to, disappoint you and break your heart the way that football has. I think we've learned over the years that, like, the time leading up to the season is oftentimes the best time. That's when you're at your most excited. You're really happy. You can't wait to see this team. And, there's going to be years where obviously the team will meet all those expectations, but it's like, that's the time of year where we're smiling the most. So it's like, you gotta enjoy that while you can, man.
Well, I like the 6,000 people or whatever it was at Baum Walker last night were the same 6,000 that were in Omaha, with that ending the way that it did, a couple months ago. You recharge the batteries, and then you always had the preseason excitement.
Shout out to one of my buddies, Jacob. I was talking to his wife last night, and she was saying, she was like, well, he's hurting, he's not quite over it. But she was like, but this helps, seeing the game. So there's some to it for sure.
Good. There we go. Our girl Tammy, we appreciate you, says we witnessed history today, the day our football program died. It was rough. Somebody said that it wasn't even irony that Sam Pitman was the only person on staff wearing a black polo shirt.
I did see some comments about that for sure. I think I said to Hillary at one point, I was like, it's not often that you can, like, see a regime fall apart in real time, whether that be, the Roman Empire, whether that be a football coach or anything. It's like, it's rare to look in a moment and know this is one we're going to remember for the rest of our lives. But as Razorback fans, we have a lot of those now.
that we do. David says, like the stream if you think Sam should be fired. I haven't looked at the like numbers, but I don't know if anybody paid attention to what you were saying or not. Wiley Coyote 97 says, we turned off Sad Morris Drive onto Scam Pitman Avenue. What a time to be a hog.
Good.
And there were so many, like Lou Holtz is there. Traylon Burks was there. Bobby Portis was there.
Traylon Burks with child, by the way? Was that his child that he was holding?
I guess so.
I said with child as if he was carrying it. No, he with a child, his child, perhaps.
Baseball teme's there. Fayetteville Alloy's there. Hoop Hogs were there.
Drew Smiley was on top of
Smiley was there. Yeah. Just a lot going on. And, Hayden says, not asking for Dave to be AD, but I want him on the committee of hiring our next AD and coach. A great coach can spot a fraud in a second.
Well, I like this a lot. I got to say, like, I see people say DVH for AD a lot, and I've never really given it a ton of serious thought. Not that I don't think it's just something that I'm like, oh yeah, that's just funny. Like, of course, yeah, DVH for Prez. Today, I actually did find myself genuinely thinking of, like, one, would Dave be interested in being the AD? And two, could he do the job? I think he could do the job. I don't know how interested he would be. Probably not terribly, honestly, but, Mississippi State did that once. They hired their baseball coach as their AD. Maybe Arkansas would do it, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I'd be on board. Do
you long for the days of DVH, Eric Musselman, and Sam Pitman embracing on the sidelines before a game?
We'll always have that 2021-2022 academic calendar year.
Gosh, man. Charlie Shepard says, our best player is Devin Bell. What a play. I know he's a punter, but I've seen him run down and tackle better than our backers. What a play. I love Devin Bell, man. How he got that punt off in the first half, I have no idea. Like, he was dead to rights for that punt to get blocked, and he wound up getting it off there. He might be Arkansas's best player. Might be something to
He's
that.
certainly got the right mentality. He's got that dog in him for sure. If everybody on Arkansas's defense had his mentality, I truly think they'd be a better defense.
Yeah. Charlie, kind of echoing what we were talking about a little bit earlier, he says, my question is, who is going to want to coach here? If Hunter Yurchek is allowed to continue to be the AD, who is going to want this job? And there will be people who want this job, and there will be quality coaches who want this job, but it depends on, I hate to be this guy because I know you guys hate hearing this, but you might consider reevaluating your expectations for what a new hire is going to look like. Because if you think it's going to be, John Gruden or, whoever else are going to pull Nick Saban out of retirement, all this stuff, or these, major coaches that are on everybody's hot board right now, those are the things you have to consider. Like, you're comparing administrations, you're comparing resources, you're comparing availability to win and turn things around or flip it quickly. And the best coaches are going to go to the places where all those things are in place or as close to them as possible. And it's a big question as to whether or not that's a thing at Arkansas. So would you guys be happy with, a young up and comer who's having a good year at a G5 school, Chad Morse? Because that might be what you're looking at. I don't know what it's going to wind up being. And maybe, and hopefully I would say you cross your fingers that there's either changes administration wise, or when the move is made, that the people with the power to help with all these things financially, whether it's paying a new coach or giving you the NIL, the things that you need, that they step up and say, hey, the time is now, and we're in here and we're ready to do this. Cause that's otherwise, I think it's a valid question.
It definitely is.
Sam Temple says, guys, we all need to calm down. Obviously, us as fans aren't donating enough NIL, and we're talking about Pitman's job security too much. Jokes aside, fire Pitman and Yurchek both, or killdozer time. At first, I thought he was serious. I was like, no way. Somebody really thinks we should calm down. Like,
I figured he wasn't, because I know Sam Temple. I didn't think he was serious, but I'm with that. And fair enough.
Jason Doyle says, this is who Pitman has always been. He hired Sexton as soon as he could, and he gets pissy anytime the media fans aren't kissing his cheeks. He is a money-grubbing, arrogant failure. I don't think he's arrogant.
I don't know about arrogant, and also like
he is very sensitive to, people questioning the job that he does. And I think probably a lot of us get defensive when those questions are asked, but very much so. And then he's very aware of what people say and the perception of him and the program and everything else, which to a degree, I understand it, because that's your baby. Like that, it's kind of your responsibility, and it means a lot to you. So that stuff is going to impact you. But I always go back to blocking a bunch of fans and stuff on Twitter. And then just like the constant thing here recently of just throwing it on the public, like throwing it on the fan base. You guys make a mountain out of a molehill. Guys, we're not losing by 100. Well, you damn near did today on your home field. That stuff is very frustrating. It is.
Yeah, I don't think anybody responds super well to being criticized. And so like I can almost sympathize, but you're 100% right. Like it strikes a chord with him anytime someone says something to him that is not over the top complimentary. Hell, there's even been times where people have tried to ask him questions that are just neutral, and he thinks they're asking something negative, which is what happened with the Daniel Shee thing, by the way. That's what happened in that situation. Is he thought Daniel Shee was trying to like make a joke about like, oh, people aren't excited for year 6 of you. He just was like, oh yeah, year 2 Bobby, year 6 Sam might not have the same ring, but like people always say year 2 Bobby. What have you learned about it? And he like took that question and got butthurt about it when it wasn't even a negative question. And it's because he has that kind of defensive mindset. He's got his antennas up of like on the lookout for, hey, are people saying bad things about me? Mm-hmm. And again, like I don't handle criticism well. So it's like, I can get it on one hand, but the thing that's always bothered me with Pitman is that he seems to like not understand the premise and he'll sometimes say, well, look guys, I understand that like, when you lose, people get upset, but, and then he'll go on whatever. And I'm like, what do you mean? But like, that's what's happening here. The results aren't what people want. So they're upset and they want answers and they want to find out why. And he's saying like, I get if you say, hey, just because we lost doesn't mean we don't have X, Y, and Z. Doesn't mean we can't do X, Y, and Z. He always seems to get hung up on why people are upset. And I'm like, that's just the game we play, dude. And I mean, it's an unforgiving job being a head football coach, but it's like, that is the job. And we were talking about who would want that job, who would want it. A bunch of people want that pressure. A bunch of people that are very motivated want to have an entire state rally around them and care whether or not they win or lose. You know what I mean? A bunch of you should. I'm not saying Sam Pittman should be flattered that people are sad or mad at him when they lose, but it's like that means people expect you to be great. And there's 1,000 people. There's a ton of really good coaches all over the country at the high school, college level that are dying, working their entire lives to get an opportunity to have people care that much about their program.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. AS1317. Thanks. We appreciate it. If you had a chat that followed that, ain't no way we're finding it, but we definitely appreciate you regardless. Seth wants you to know, Andrew, that you got that dog in you today.
Well, I appreciate it. I do. I feel a little bit bad for yelling at Ryan, but I've had a back and forth with Ryan for decades now. At this point, I mean, he tweets every time I say something he doesn't like, he tweets at me about it. So I was just kind of I was like Sam Pittman. I was already defensive before the question had even been asked, because I saw a bunch of people also being like, I need more anger. I need more blah, blah, blah. So I'm happy to see that somebody felt like we had some dog in them today.
What do they want us to do?
Lift every voice and sing is what I was told.
I guess so. Stripiest says, semi-regular contribution to an organization I watch approximately 10 times a week. Appreciate you guys continuing to provide content. Really been eating up those Pot the Palace and bombastic videos. I need them. Well, they're coming, buddy.
You know what I learned about Stripiest Wig? Learned about Stripiest Wig last year. I saw him at Baum. I can't remember. I think it was one of those exhibition games that they played. Massive human being. Like, would make you look like a normal sized guy.
I like that.
He's like 6'6", 300. Like, he's a massive dude. Like, he could play right tackle for Arkansas.
I love that. No, I like that a lot. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate you. Mark says the current state of the football program is on the coaches and players. I gave Sam grace, but I cannot continue supporting mediocrity at best. When you lose, Mark, you've lost everyone, buddy. Okay.
That used to be.
I hate that you're here.
Yeah. That used to be our boy, Z Beeler, back in the day. He used to be the guy that where like, he was optimistic all the time. So if he was like, guys, we're cooked, that usually means something bad. But I feel like Beeler has kind of gone a little bit heel now. Yeah. When Mark, and this happened last week, I think with Mark, where he finally was like, damn, that sucks.
He was asking us for the hot boards and everything.
Yeah. Mark, we really do. We've given you a hard time a lot, but we really do appreciate you being here, and we appreciate your passion and everybody's passion, man. Like, at the end of the day, like, whether you're mad at us, mad at Pitman, happy, sad, whatever, it's like you care, and like that's really all that matters here. Is that we're all brought together by this thing that we care about. We just view it through our own different lenses.
That's right. We're gonna keep rolling through these here. This is it's overwhelming. We really appreciate. I mean, the fact that you guys are, giving us money to have your voices heard, that we really do appreciate that. And I know a lot of it's because you guys are just so damn frustrated that you want somebody to hear you. You want to get it out. We know. Seth says this was Travis's best call game all year, and the players completely fumbled the bag.
I'll take your word for it. I'm going to do the Sam Pittman thing, and I'm going to say I'll have to go back and watch the film before I can make a decision. But I don't know. When they score on every single time they touch the football in the first half, I don't know if I can buy that. It's like, oh yeah, he was dialing that shit up, but they just weren't doing what they needed to do. I feel like everybody deserves some blame.
I'm with you. Charlie says, why is Juracek allowed to continue to be in charge considering his comments? What coach is going to want to be here with an AD making those comments? Well, you got to have the ear of the right people, and apparently he does. If yesterday's board of trustees meeting was any indication, we'll see what it looks like moving forward. Ice Cold Mint Julep says, did BP leave TG in to protect his guy as he might be afraid KJ would shine versus the backups? No.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Should he have taken him out? Probably, like 100%. I don't think that's a thing that's happening.
I think they were getting their doors blown off at home, and they were very aware of the prevailing thought in that building that they had quit, and they didn't want to, do the ceremonious thing of, all right, we are going to pack it in today, and we're going to put our backups in there or whatever. I think they were trying to show like, oh, we're going to fight till the end or whatever. It's falls on deaf ears and eyes or whatever, but I think that's probably more in line with what was going on. Is Fred being worried about KJ Jackson outshining. Yeah,
shout out to Cameron, because he says that Pitman was asked about this and did say very much that he didn't want to send the message that they had given up, which frankly, like I don't have a problem with. Like, I maybe would have taken Taylor now, but like I'm okay with the premise. As bad as things are and as they continue to be, I still firmly believe that like the coaches on the staff are not purposely not playing guys they think are better than the starters, especially when the guy that we're talking about is a guy that 2 weeks ago everyone was arguing that he should be winning the Heisman.
No, 100%. And it's like we've had we talked about this off the air of the people who every week they've been doing I just don't understand why there's no changes to the defensive depth chart. One, as if that matters when they release that anyway. But two, I just keep looking at it. I'm going, well, who do you want to see on there that's not on there right now? You know what I mean? Like there's just not a whole bunch of answers there in terms of guys who, if they could be helping the team, they would be helping the team. And if they're not playing, there's probably a reason. I tend to believe that. Landon Jackson says, can we trade the last 7 games for 7 more basketball games? I hope so. And I hope they all come in March, man. Ben's my man, by the way. He says, can we get some love for the tight ends and Morgan Turner? Yeah, I mean, hey, shout out to Postgame. He did half of his job with the 5.5 yards per reception. Didn't get the touchdown. Shout out to Anthony Ruda's doppelganger. And yeah, shout out to the tight ends, man.
That was crazy. Yeah, Platt had a big catch at some point today. Did Rohan? Rohan didn't really have a big moment today, did he?
Let me look real quick because I do have it pulled up here. Rohan Jones had 1 reception for 23 yards.
Yeah, you want to talk about yards per reception? Rohan Jones has that. But yeah, tight ends probably best position group on the team, all things considered.
Yeah, sure.
It might be.
I'll go with that. I'll go with that for sure. Continue to roll through them here. Charlie, man, you're on a roll. We appreciate it, buddy. He says, this isn't just Pitman, though. Bad since 2012. This has been a run of.
I don't think anybody like realistically in their heart believes that it's Pitman and only Pitman.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't believe that.
Charlie also says they aren't getting pressure, though, at all, really. It's not just the secondary. These QBs are having all day to throw. We tried to – I hate doing that. I really hate doing this, but we are just trying to spread awareness that we've been onto this. You know what I mean? I hate doing anything like, well, if you would have listened, then you would have expected – you wouldn't be surprised by this. But so often, you know, throughout the course of fall camp, we were getting attacked by people saying we were looking for reasons to be negative and everything else. And one of the big things we pointed out was people saying, well, the secondary is better. Oh, the secondary is going to be better. And we were saying, well, maybe they will be, but it's not going to matter if you can't generate a pass rush, if you can't get to the quarterback, and these guys are trying to, you know, defend a route for 8 seconds. They're going to get picked apart. It turns out they're not better, and you're still not getting pressure unless Quincy Rhodes does it or occasionally Phillip Lee, and this is what you get. But you're 100% right. Like it is a cumulative effect, and you know, one area of the defense impacts the other, and it's been impacting it in the wrong way. Let's see. Man, we still got a couple more here. Chris Greer. Chris was he the one that was like all in the chat during the game? He was all over it there.
Yes.
The in-game chatter. We appreciate that. That's good stuff right there. He said was tired of seeing all these $9.99 chats. So he gave us one for $10.01. We appreciate that. He says, where's John? I need some Venom right now. I mean,
yeah, he was spamming with that where he was just like, I need Venom. It's like, what
tune into the Lockdown Razorbacks podcast and you'll get it.
Yeah. It's not going to be here.
Yeah. The devotional tomorrow. You'll get it there.
Yeah. And honestly, dude, like there was part of me, because I was, you know, watching the game, part of me did kind of think about like coming up with this like orchestrated, you know, choreographed, you know, angry speech. I just really like, I don't think that helps. And I just don't want to like be inauthentic. Like, I don't want to just like force it for you guys. Cause like, you guys know how I feel. If you've been watching our shows, like you said, Curtis, like you kind of been with this journey with us. It would be very inauthentic for me to get on here and start screaming and yelling. Cause it's like, at this point, that's not even what I feel. I just feel sadness because of how the whole situation played out. But it's like, I'm not super surprised. So I was way more angry last week than I am
That's
this
what I was about to say. Yeah.
This week I'm just kind of like apathetic. And so I don't want to like just come out here and bullshit.
Yeah. The fire and brimstone, it definitely felt like last week. I'm gonna be curious to hear from John and how he feels, because he's probably feeling the same way. I mean, because like he said it all last week as well. Like, it's unacceptable. It's pathetic. There needs to be change. Like, all those things still ring true. Like, it just because you have another kick in the nuts to remind you why that's the case. Like, does it get you all fired up all over again for the same thing? It's just, I predicted them to get beat by 3 scores and they got beat by like 13. I'm not necessarily surprised that this happened. I'm disappointed we are where we are. More or less, I'm frustrated, and I wait here with bated breath to see if something is going to happen in terms of change. And if it does, we'll be talking.
We'll be right on top of it. We might do another live stream for an hour and a half tomorrow. Like, that's very
seriously,
possible.
Yeah, it's unreal. Which, by the way, I was just thinking about this. The accountability session that we do, the report card that we do we just combine them or something and do one? Like, we want to do it, but
I was going to have this conversation with you off air, but yes.
Like one fell swoop here, because nobody is going to give a damn. Okay, we get it. It's F's across the board. So we'll be as quick as possible here. The accountability session will be fun, but it's like we've kind of set the precedent here with doing these things. But after a game like this, it's like, does anybody really care about the the breakdowns on the interior defensive line? Or
I think you're onto something. We'll let this post game marinate for everyone that by the way, and appreciate everybody, because the numbers have been awesome on our content football post game stuff. Like last week, I hate to say it, last week was our most viewed post game show ever. Football, basketball, baseball. It broke the records that we've been setting in basketball season, and then set it in baseball. Mm-hmm. Now we've set it again. Maybe we'll set it again here today. I don't take pride in that, but I appreciate you guys listening. For anybody that does tune into that content, I hope you heard that little soliloquy of we're going to combine post-game, report card, all that. I think
basically what we mean is this is it for the day. All right, we're gonna enjoy the rest of our Saturday after this, and we'll be back with a bigger deal tomorrow. Papa Dragon says the bye week's going to drop 50 on us.
Yeah, no, the bye week's offense is starting to kick it into gear a little bit.
Tough opponent. Last one. Hog slop. We appreciate you. Says hog football is like a drug. I know it's bad for me, but I keep coming back. A lot of fans feel that way. Listen, we have to, but even if I wasn't talking about it for a living, I would still tune in and watch all the games, and I would still be pissed off at the situation with the coaching and administration and everything else. And it's a weird and delicate balance to find. And so a lot of people get in that deal of like, oh, are you rooting for the team to lose? I can't root for the team to lose. Do whatever you want, but you don't have to do that while also being frustrated with the direction of where everything is headed and wanting some changes in different spots. It's like your favorite thing, right? Like two things can be true at once. You want success for the program, you want success for the players, and you're going to cheer them on, but damn it, you're fed up with a lot of stuff that's going on big picture here.
Everything in life is about what you're trying to get out of it. If I invite you to a dinner at a burger restaurant and you're expecting anything other than just light football conversations and a burger that's going to be a B+, don't show up, But if you're expecting a 5-star cuisine, that's not going to be it. You got to know what you're getting into. You know what you're getting into, so you're always pleased when we do that exact thing. But if you're watching the football on Saturday when they play Tennessee, if you're going into that Tennessee game expecting they need to beat Tennessee, and that's going to determine if I can have a good Saturday. If they can beat Tennessee, that's what I need to see, a complete change, complete turnaround. You're probably not going to get it. And so you're going to be just as frustrated as you are now or as frustrated as you were last week. But if you're going into it saying, hey, you know what? This season hasn't turned out the way I wanted. Let's just see what we got here. That's kind of the mentality I think a lot of us are in now. I'm not saying you're going to have fun, but I think you're setting yourself up for a better Saturday. I don't think y'all should be going into these Saturdays at this point living and dying and being like, I'm going to be sad if they, I'm going to, be in a bad mood if things go poorly, because kind of right now it seems to be what's going to happen a lot.
I'm glad we stayed on a little bit longer.
Seth,
Banger. We don't have the John Cena button. John has that, but this is awesome. He says, to clarify my previous chat, there's multiple times, especially on crucial downs, where Travis had a perfect play call, but missed assignments and missed tackles either kept the drive alive or led to a touchdown, not referring to how well he had him coached up. Yeah, I get that. There were certainly, missed assignments and just flat out getting, big boyed by Jeremiah Love or the other kid Price, who looked really good too, or getting mossed on certain plays. So I'm with you there. And man, you didn't have to pay us $100 to get that off your chest, but dang, we appreciate it. But the sentiment is noted for sure. We understand where you're coming from, and appreciate you getting it out there. But there's truth to that for sure.
100%. Yeah. And I agree with Curtis. You didn't have to give us $100 super chat just to make the point, but no, I'm with you. And I honestly have the same stance of like, I'll have to go back and look at some of it. Cause I'm with you. Like I, in my head, can even think of a few times where there was a guy that met a ball carrier somewhere around the line of scrimmage and then he just didn't go down. There were also some times where they did. I mean, Jeremiah Love had several runs today where he got hit in the backfield or he got tackled for a 1-yard gain or whatever. I also do remember a few breakdowns, and so I can buy that it was probably his best called game of the year because the bar was pretty low.
Oh, that too. Yeah, that too, for sure. Well, we're out of here, folks. We definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in. Just a PSA, okay? And we've waited an hour and 40 minutes to do this. If you have been listening for an hour and 40 minutes and you are not subscribed to the Inside Arkansas YouTube channel, why? I just ask you why. But do that real quick. One click, it's easy to do, and turn those notifications on. I cannot stress enough how important it is to turn the notifications on for this channel. That way you are notified if we go live for any breaking news. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Do it for us while you're here. We certainly appreciate it, and everybody rocking with us. You can also find all of our content, whether it's Inside Arkansas Football, Inside Arkansas Live, Pot to Palace Basketball, Bombastic with baseball, Recruiting Podcast with Dudley Dawson. All those can be found on their individual podcast channels, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you listen there. We appreciate you all. I'm not going to do the thing where it's like, hey, we'll see you Monday or we'll see you tomorrow for the report card. We don't know, but we're prepared for an impromptu, and we want you to as well. So thank you guys again. Appreciate you. Enjoy your weekend until we see you again. It's been Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas.